Hey there, my fellow rejects. Rabbit here. I have a really fun crowd control team support build for the Skitarii in Warhammer 40k Darktide. Alright, so this build is going to be all about stunning a lot of enemies at once and opening them up for your team to deal a ton of damage. Alright, I'm calling it the Toughness Generating Arc Reactor build. Okay, so let's actually take a look at the talent tree and then we'll go into the weapons and curios and all that. Alright, so let's start off in the middle but go from the top. Then we're going to work our way clockwise. Alright, so first things first, we need to get auto repair doctrines. You're going to replenish plus 3% toughness per second, increased by 0.5% per current charge. Next, we're going to get Shockline Breach Protocol. Every time we push an enemy, it gives us 50% extra cleave for 8 seconds. And that's going to kind of come into play when we get into the weapons. Next is going to be the Capacitor Reclamation Loop. Hitting 3 or more enemies with an attack restores 1% capacitance. So this one, plus Augmented Power Cycle, plus the flux conduit build up. So the flux conduit build up. Oh my god, I can't say that word. These three things are going to allow us to get a lot of capacitance. Right, so this one's going to give us, upon a critical hit, 5% capacitance over 4 seconds, and this one's just going to passively generate 1% per second. Alright. And then up here we're going to get the Electro Strike Conduit, so melee critical hits electrocute the first enemy hit. We're going to then get the Weakness Analysis Doctrine, get plus 10% damage for 8 seconds when hitting an electrocuted, soul blaze, burning, bleeding, or toxin afflicted enemy with a melee or ranged attack. So this is going to be really good when we need to fight in range because this will still give us that 10% damage buff. Going to be really cool. Next is Entropic Transfer. Replenish 12% toughness over 4 seconds on electrocuting an enemy. Next is System Shock. Electrocuting an enemy applies 4 stacks of 2.5 brittleness to them. Alright, so this is going to pair very well with our weapon because um, we will be using the shock ball, and that's just going to give them brittleness right away. Next thing, our aura is going to be Resurgence. We gain 25 toughness. So you and allies in coherency generate 50% coherency toughness regardless of enemy proximity. Next is Retribution Conduit. Gain 10% extra damage versus electrocuted. And then increase by plus 5% per current charge. The ability is the Voltaic Emitter. Unleash an electric discharge around you. Enemies within 12 meters are electrocuted for 2 seconds, stunning them and dealing damage. When using Voltaic Emitter at 2 charges or above, and ranged enemies within 30 meters have their weapons malfunction for 12 seconds. They won't be able to shoot that entire time, which is going to be perfect. And if they don't have any melee weapons, they'll just kind of stand in place, I believe. So that's kind of going to lock them down for a little bit. And the rest of the thing here says when using Voltaic Emitter at 3 charges or above for the next 15 seconds, your attacks electrocute enemies hit for 2 seconds, dealing damage. Then the ability modifier is Voltaic Overcharge. Voltaic Emitter restores 25 toughness plus an additional 1% toughness for each enemy hit by electric discharge. Sorry, I can't talk right now. So far, you're seeing that we're stacking up a lot of different ways to shock and get it to go off reliably. So I think so far this is doing what I want it to do. Next, we're going to go to the right-hand side here. We're going to have to get binary ballistics protocol. Elite kills restore 15% toughness over 3 seconds. Ammo cell augury, that's going to go as 25% ammo reserve, followed by gunsmith, which is going to give us 15% reload speed. And when we're not shooting for 5 seconds, each second spent not shooting reloads 7.5% of your clip from your ammo reserve. And this one's pretty cool. Ammunition restoration pod. Every 15 seconds, replenish 1% of your maximum ammo reserve. So it's kind of like how the Hive Scum and the Veteran has their thing where they can like get a little bit of ammo back in some way. It's kind of like how this works. And it's going to be pretty cool to have this on, pretty useful because majority of the time you are going to be in melee combat with this class. And if we could just like replenish a little bit of our ammo when we're in melee, that's going to be great. It's going to make us more like self-sufficient. And where's the thing? Oh yeah, the gunsmith is just going to allow you to reload your weapons like passively. So I think it's pretty vital you have this on because you always want more ammo. You're not going to have a lot sometimes. Our next thing is going to be precision combat augers. You get plus 15% damage for your next attack on a successful dodge. Again, you're going to be in melee combat a lot, so why not just have this on? You're going to be dodging a lot anyways, so might as well get a little buff out of it, right? After that, we're going to get hybrid combat covenant. Melee kills increase range damage by 3% for 8 seconds, and it stacks 5 times. Range kills increase melee damage by plus 3% for 8 seconds, stacks 5 times. So it's like they switch on and off, right? So cool if you need to be switching a lot, you're going to be getting increased damage by X amount. But also, the stacks will decay one at a time. So, it's cool. You don't really have to keep track of it all too much. It's there when you want to switch in the background. The keystone is going to be Power Overload. Kills by you and allies in coherency grant 1 stack of Power Overload. Elite and Specialist enemy kills grant 2 stacks. Well, you get a max of 30 stacks, but then here's the cool thing. When reaching max stacks, causes an overload and a reset to 0 stacks. The overload grants you and allies incoherency plus 15% damage and plus 15% toughness damage reduction for 8 seconds. Alright, so this is going to allow us to kind of start supporting the team a little bit more by giving everyone some extra damage, reducing the toughness damage they take, and more stuff happens when we take these 2 modifiers. First one being the invigorating overload. You and allies in coherency restore 20% toughness and stamina when the overload occurs. But the most important one you need to get is the static capacitor drain. There's 3 things to it. 3 tiers. Overloading 8 times grants you plus 15% damage. When you overload 16 times, it grants 20% toughness damage reduction. When you overload 24 times, this increases the capacitance generation by 25%. These bonuses, all 3 of these, will last until death. And with the amount of like toughness damage or toughness regeneration you're going to be getting, the damage that you'll take will never really put you into a down state unless you get really unlucky by like an ogre and overhead or something like that. All right, so it only takes 30 stacks, and the higher you go in difficulty, you're going to get more elites, more specialists, and just in general, you're going to be facing a lot more like the poxwalkers, and you're going to overload very, very quickly. You can do this. I'm pretty sure if everyone's like decimating everything that they come across, you're going to be overloading dozens of times. Alright, so we're going to go into the left-hand side of the tree now. We're going to get power redistribution uplink. Critical hits restore 7.5% toughness and grant 15% toughness damage reduction over 3 seconds. Next, we're going to get Last Stand Relay. This is going to give us plus 6% crit chance, increase to 10% when at 0 charges. And then the Flux Conduit buildup, which we mentioned earlier, whenever we do a critical hit, it's going to give us 5% capacitance over 4 seconds. So this stuff right here is going to allow us to crit more, and when we crit, we're going to get a lot of bonuses from it. Next is the residual current buffer. Gain 10% toughness damage reduction, increased by 2.5% per current charge. Omnisign Recharge Litany. Hitting 3 or more enemies with an attack restores 10% toughness over 3 seconds. Then we're going to get the Artificer Servo Skull Blitz. So when we get this, we're going to now be able to send out our Servo Skull to attack nearby enemies. It's going to be elite specialists, monstrosities, captains, things like that, right? It can still passively target and attack poxwalkers and all that, but this is going to allow you to specifically target something that's not them. Then we're going to get New Spheric Command. This one's a pretty popular one. So you might see a lot of people use this if they're not using the Medicaid Servo Skull. This thing's pretty nifty. When you activate it, it's going to have increased fire rate for 2 seconds. Cost 25% capacitance, so you can do it like 4 times before you lose a charge, right? And this thing's pretty nifty. Like if you feel like you don't need to save up for the Voltaic Emitter, you can just like pop off the New Spheric Command 4 times, and then you should still have enough charges left over if something does need to get electrified with this. And this thing's really good. Like it can take down pretty much anything that you point it at, especially more so if you shock the target already. Next thing is going to be the power overflow. When at full toughness, 25% of excess toughness replenished is distributed to each ally coherency. Okay, so remember all those different ways of us getting, toughness and recovering it and getting more of it? Well, now when we're at full toughness, we're going to be able to give a little bit back to the team. And that's going to hopefully keep everyone alive. All right. And I was actually able to take this into lower level Havocs. I think like up to 10, I think was what I was doing before I had to like log out for the night. So this I can guarantee you is going to work in Havoc, and it's going to keep you and the team alive. This is a really fun build, and I think you're going to really get a kick out of this one. So let's now go look at the loadout. I'm going to be using the Shock Maul. This is it doesn't hit too hard by itself, but what we're going to use is high voltage, so plus 25% damage versus electrocuted enemies. With Skull Crusher, that's going to go as 4 stacks, so plus 10% damage if something's already staggered. Max of 8 stacks on target, lasts for 5 seconds, can be refreshed. Um, and then we're going to use these perks, plus 25% damage versus Carapace enemies, so we're definitely going to be taking care of Ogrins. We should be going after them. Also, plus 5% melee critical chance. I know 5% isn't that much, but 5% is better than having 0 from the weapon. And this is just going to allow us, as a quick reminder, that it's going to allow us to get flux conduit buildup more often. And where was the other thing? Oh yeah, the power redistribution uplink. That's going to allow us to get even more toughness recovered. Okay. So I think this would pair very well with what we're trying to do. Sure, there's probably better things, but I think this will work for what I want it to do. This is the stats that we want in the 80%. So mobility is going to be the dump stat. Just make sure when you're rolling for this weapon that everything else is 80 and mobility is at 60%. Okay. Now, let's talk about maybe some alternatives for the blessings. So let's pull that up real quick. Let's take a little look here. Um, I don't find this to be all too helpful because we want the shock to go off as much as possible, right? 25% chance, it's okay. Is everything better? I mean, Skull Crusher is already pretty good. Hammer Blow is also a pretty good alternative. You get more impact for 3.5 seconds on hit. Stacks 5 times can be generated on multiple targets if we cleave through something. So I think this would pair pretty well with something like Skull Crusher. That's gonna just allow us to, with the weapon itself, to stagger enemies. So if you don't like the idea of using what's it called? High voltage. You can possibly run hammer blow. All right. Next one is thrust. Let's see. Do we want to use this at all? Is it useful? Not really. I don't think it's gonna serve us too well. It's only a 20% increase depending on heavy attack. I mean, if you spam it, sure. But I think utility-wise, hammer blow, skull crusher, and high voltage is better. Falter, 30% range stagger strength, plus 90% stagger on enemies on a weak spot hit. That could be interesting if you want to be a weak spot hunter. Though for most people, I think it might be hard to pull it off because, the weak spot is pretty small target, so maybe not the best option, especially if you're starting out new. Lightning reflexes, it's really hard to pull off perfect blocks. Perfect block is where just before, an melee attack lands on you and you throw up the block and then it connects. That's a perfect block, and the timing window on that's like super small. So I don't think this would be a good option. Opportunists, 25% extra melee rending versus staggered enemies. This will increase your own damage. I mean, that might be interesting if you either pair it with the Skull Crusher or the Hammer Blow. But for this build, we're all about teamwork here, right? Buffing and helping the team. So I think Skull Crusher is actually the best perk that you want, or blessing you want to put on, and where high voltage is second place there, because that's going to allow you to help mop up anything that hasn't died in one hit. This will allow you to hit a little bit harder. Oops, I went too far. Let's talk about the secondary weapon here. We're going to be using the arc rifle, of course. Let's click on that. The blessings are going to be Cavalcade, get 5% critical chance for every 10% of magazine spent during continuous fire, stacks 5 times. Next one is going to be Enhanced Voltaic Arcs. Arc Lightning gains 10 jump angle and 1 extra jump distance, can jump 1 additional time. Perks are going to be just like the range melee weapon. We're going to get 5% range critical strike chance, plus 25% damage versus carapace enemies. The perfect rolls are going to be pretty similar. Mobility is going to be the dump stat, so make sure you make it, or make sure you find something that is like this. Mobility is 60%. And yeah. Next, we're going to talk about the curios. We're going to want 2 things of blessings. Uh, get it as high as you can. I believe the maximum is like, what, 17 or 20% or something like that, max toughness. And everything's going to have combat ability, regeneration, and ally revive speed. Now, since this is primarily going to be melee combat, I like to put on damage resistance from gunners. Um, you do get cut down pretty easily by them, so might as well have some extra protection from them. And oh yeah, I forgot. I actually changed it up. One of them will have toughness regeneration speed, so that's going to allow us to recover back to full a lot quicker. Plus 5% toughness. So I guess I did change it and I forgot. Actually, my bad. So this is what I got. Make sure one of them is a wound. Give you 1 extra chance to get back up on your feet. All right. Well, I'll let you now watch the gameplay recording that I did on lower level Havocs. I think the highest I went was level 10 or so before I had to close down for the night. This was a late night gameplay recording I did. All right, so let me know what you think of this build. Let me know if you have fun. Let me know if there's something that could be improved upon. And yeah, well, before you head out, if this is the only part you're gonna watch, appreciate it if you can hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, change that notification to all. That'll let you know when I do more loadout builds and gameplay tips for this game. And that'll help with the algorithm and help with my small channel. Greatly appreciate that because this thing, YouTube, it's difficult for small channels to grow. So again, I appreciate it if you could help me out with that. Alright, well, I gotta go. Hope you enjoy watching the gameplay recording of what this looks like in combat. Catch you next time. Bye bye.
Ominous sire be praised. Tertiary assets Voltaics have located a foundryplex in the interzone void. Such a find would allow us to at last produce the Modian steel recorded in the annals of Saint Messalina, rather than the modern dross. Initiate contact with our informant, follow his instructions, and wake the foundryplex. Understood?
Even a fellow of such prodigious capacities as myself can grow bored.
Contact protocols require caution when dealing with individuals such as yourself, Swagger.
What a wicked world this is, and so bereft of trust. I am heartbroken.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm sure. May we now proceed?
Your servant, ma'am, ever and always.
Alas, the inner void is large and our time limited. We'll need to restore power to the lateral shuttle in order to access the foundryplex's flood.
I selected these operatives for their aptitude in such matters.
Then I'm sure we shall get on fearlessly. Let's find out.
The abomination has been reduced to unfunction.
Impressive! You have much to teach me!
What became of the foundryplex's electro-priests? Its artisans and rune priests?
Hideous beauty! God! Maybe I'll make some whole tactic zealots! Beauty! Fire's going to blow!
Medicate
Take your corruption from this place! Faith is the strongest weapon! You should try it!
So my readings confirm. What harm have you visited on this marvel? You must not let the synchronistic overload. Do it again and strive for adequacy.
Manumission!
Warrior, I am in your sights!
I take no joy in it. Save that of duty done. Medicare station!
I haven't found anyone in the battlefield for ages. Medicaid station! To arms! Trapper!
It is dead! Let Voxel!
I would appreciate knowing how you discovered the location of this boundary plex.
I have my way. I hear so many interesting stories, especially about you, dear lady. Why,
My endeavors are not a suitable topic for conversation.
I stand humble.
At last, the shores of the boundary plex. Proceed, varlets. Let us open the holy machine.
Medivac!
I didn't want to get in your way.
The tech warrior seeks the omen for something!
You can learn more!
Die,
Shadow is essential! Gab Gunner!
Manumission!
That's him! Gab Gunner! Focus on duty, and we may prevail. Gab Shotgunner!
Enemy operatives are taken cover! Major is dead!
Visual on a sniper!
Such efficiency, tech warrior! Glory!
Extermination!
This machine isn't dead, but sleeping. You'll see soon enough.
Completion is required!
Do I refrain? So do I do!
Someone call for a boat!
Medicaid station!
I need that!
Let's go! Offensive protocol supply! I concur! Down shotgunner! Medicate station! Carry on! Ammo!
You are mine, sir!
Order!
My service pleases the omniscient of that house. Concern.
A shame that your eyes are closed for restriction! Shotgunner!
Ammo! Duty! Threat neutralized! Kill the gunner! Finally, justice for its victims! Creating bastion! It's about to blow! Shooting! Flammo neutralized!
The old girl doesn't want to wake up, does she?
I do not care for your levity.
Which places you in abundant, if not necessarily discerning company. I shall endeavor to soldier on.
Russia! Indeed!
Varlets, slash sparkly eyes, machine will work. Understood. Function. Returning to acceptable levels. Proceed to the Socratic metabolism.
In case you were wondering, I disabled the auto-detector.
Your thanks are not required.
Correct path identified.
Always gratifying to see one's labors reported with results.
Good. Let us now harness the mysteries of the Omnissiah. Let us call forth Mobian steel.
If the team will indulge me in getting things moving, I shall repair to the control oubliette post-haste.
Ammunition right.
An executioner could do no better.
Shield up! Shield up!
You have been judged, Raka!
What once was mundane has now received the Omnissiah's blessing. It shall be put to good use.